Hello, everyone, and welcome to In 15 with Rinchin, a show where top experts share their most practical advice in 15 minutes. My name is Rinchin, and I'm going to be your host. Our guest for today is Karunesh Prasad, or KP as he's known in the industry. KP is a distinguished talent and transformation expert, celebrated as a top voice on LinkedIn for change management. He has over 30 years of experience and is a sought after keynote speaker, executive coach, and an advisor. KP is the founder of Change It All, which is an award winning boutique consulting firm in Singapore that has been recognized as Asia's top 10 change management firms. For over a decade, KP has been guiding vast variety of organizations through successful business transformations using his innovative 4A change model. In addition to Change at All, KP also launched Bridge at All, which is a subsidiary designed to support the gig economy by connecting global organizations with top experts in tech and transformation. He's also the mind behind Board Matchup, which is a groundbreaking system matching organizations with the perfect board level and C suite talent. Now, before we start our conversation, I have a question for you. Have you ever heard of freelancing leaders? Well, neither had I till I spoke to KP a couple of weeks back. KP will today explain the flexible executive economy, which is a revolutionary model where the experienced leaders freelance their expertise, balancing their own work life while helping organizations thrive, creating a win win in this changing world of workplace. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hi, Karunesh, and thank you so much for joining in 15 with Rinchin.
Thank you, Rinchin. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's my absolute pleasure. So, Karunesh, these days in the era of remote work post COVID, everybody's talking about how do we make this remote work culture better for Gen Z and millennials. But what you have been talking about has been slightly different, which is from the perspective of leadership. And what does the whole new era of remote work mean for the generation that has spent 2 or 3 or even more decades in the corporate world? I'd really like if you'd throw some more light on it.
Thank you for bringing it up. I think I'm starting to give it a name, give it a shape, and also trying to bring a ecosystem around the entire leadership, the way they work, and the way they are likely to work in the next few decades, probably. So the background is like this, Rinchan. What happened was that in my work that I do, of course, in the change management or also in the area of gig economy that we have been working through Bridge It All, how it worked out is that I saw multiple very senior leaders, particularly post COVID, choosing not to work 9 to 5. I think more and more people started to give priority to their balancing their life in a way that they remain available to their family. They balance their work with passion that they want to follow, and also they're trying to make sure that they remain gainfully engaged because these are smart people, they are experts of their profession, but they want to keep a good balance. And the more I saw this, I said there's an opportunity here because these guys are trying to look for some kind of opportunity to give back to the society in the form of the knowledge that they have. On the other hand, there's a very big ecosystem of startups which is building up.
Right.
Now, not everybody can actually afford to hire a 53-year-old ex CXO or CMO of a company, but if they have their time available for 2 days or 3 days, it's a win win for all. And that's the ecosystem I thought I should try to build up. I call it flexible executive economy, as you know, and this is, I think, turning out to be the sweet spot where people are coming together with organizations via our platform that we have built. And I think this is the future of how talent management will be happening. in that scale or that level.
I think it's a very novel thought in the area of talent management, especially for leadership and C suite, and of people who have, like you said, multiple years of experience up their sleeves. And people would really want somebody like that person to be joining their organization, especially in the startup world. What are the barriers that you are seeing and observing to get to that flexible executive economy?
So there are two different dimensions here, Vincent. One is people who are available to work. They may be different reasons for why they are available to work, right? So there are people who have done what they needed to do. They want to have a good balance. They also see that this organization that I was working for, let us say for 25 years, 30 years, is not the same anymore, and therefore let me go and do something different. So they are comfortable in being able to choose the gig that they want to do, right? So that's one type of
Right,
people. There's another profile of people who might have, let us say, lost a job or something changed in their profession, and they may want to continue because they may have some other commitments that they are trying to take care of. The two needs are slightly different. And somebody uses another term called portfolio career, right?
okay. Yeah,
Portfolio career is that I have a gig happening here. I'm on the board of another company. I also run a small startup which I have funded and I give them advice. So what
right,
these guys are trying to do is that they are trying to build their own portfolio of different things that they like to do, and
right,
which keeps on getting them the right kind of financial flow. In
right,
between, if they want to go and spend some time on a beach, that's absolutely fine, and they have the flexibility to be able to do that. And that's the
right,
kind of balance that is very, very easy for people to be able to pursue. That's the side of the executives. Now let's look at the
right,
organizations. There are organizations of all kind.
right,
Larger the organization, more is the bureaucracy. Okay.
right.
So their policies will be much more rigid. They will look for people very differently. If they want to hire somebody at certain level, they'll have to go through multiple different phases. But today we know the way most of the corporates work. They have to have headcount approval here, headcount approval there to be able
Right.
to hire somebody at that level, all the more. Now, if they were to hire a support of an expert, whether it's in marketing or in human resources or in some other area, they can easily hire them via this channel without actually going through the entire, world's approval to be able to do that. And these
Yeah,
guys are no more looking for, okay, I need the corner office. If the designation is less than a senior VP, I'll not join. They don't care about it anymore. They've done
yeah,
it all, seen it all, right?
yeah.
So it's a very easy match to be able to make. That's the big companies model. Now let us talk about the early stage, whether it's a startup or it's a startup which is grown and with Series B or C funding. For them, it's an ideal model, right?
Right.
They are able to get this expertise on what we also use the term fractional CEO or CXO role very easily, not pay a bomb for that kind of expertise of being available to them, and get the best of everything in terms of the expertise, in terms of opening the doors, in terms of industry connections. So many things available to these startups, and they love it. So I think
Yeah.
this is how it is coming together. It's coming together in such a beautiful way that I think that it's a win-win for all the parties, whether it's the big corporates or it's the executives. And that's the ecosystem that I'm so excited about.
It sounds exciting. And who wouldn't want that level of expertise and at the same time have them enjoy their own flexibility at the same time? As you have been talking to all the executives now about this kind of economy and this being a possibility and work of future for them, what are the kind of objections or the key concerns that you're hearing from such population at the moment?
The biggest objection that I see is most of the organizations still, particularly the matured ones, they are still bound by their own internal policies and bureaucracy on being able to tap into this expertise comfortably.
Right.
I think that's the biggest challenge that we have. Startups are much more agile. nimble. They are easily able to make a decision between founder and few other people and
Yeah.
say, okay, I want so and so person, let me get the person. I've
Right.
had situation where we were trying to hire a board member for a startup.
Yeah.
They liked the person a lot, and they said that, you know what, I really want to work this with this person. You can call him an independent director or you call him a CEO, doesn't matter. I want to engage with the person. And the match was made. So our job is
Okay.
to bring them together. And I could see that they were constraints about how they could engage. The founder was very comfortable saying that it doesn't matter to me
Hmm.
as long as I'm getting his expertise. And we ultimately, agreed on a model where, as an advisor, this person came on board and started to work with this startup. And that's the ideal thing to happen.
Right.
So that's much more nimble. Larger organizations, I think, they need to go through that journey. And one of the conferences, I was talking about the same model, and I said that I would love to work with forward-looking companies who are willing to do this. And
Yeah.
somebody said, "What do you mean by forward-looking?" I said, "The ones who are open to this idea."
Right. I
Because it's
agree.
also the internal ecosystem of that company. Are they willing to be able to do this? Are they comfortable doing this? Are they differentiating too much between what they call contractor versus the normal employees kind of thing?
Right.
And they get
Right.
stuck there. They have policies which are very constraining. So I think we need to go through that path, and that's the biggest constraint that we have right now.
Hmm. Hearing you, and I know that it has been in making for so long within Singapore and within Southeast Asia. I've seen you growing and building this whole initiative with a lot of fervor. You and your team are doing a great job. Tell me more about board matchup and your journey up to this level where you have started this revolution.
Thank you for that. This is something which is very exciting, as you can see. But the background is that after leaving my corporate job, when I started Change It All, which is the consulting company for change management, this was in 2014.
Right.
And obviously, when you start, then you start with a certain hypothesis. And I was very fortunate to be able to get some very exciting projects, very part of this journey. And I realized very soon that having your own team, and I grew very fast. I hired a lot of people, and I realized that, oh no, this is not the way to do, because you can't have such a big payroll cost running, and the base cost cannot be
Right.
so high, which led me to create an ecosystem of freelancers. And those freelancers whom I started to bring together, I realized that those freelancers are not actually waiting on me. You submit a
Right.
proposal based on the understanding that these are the two or three people who will work on my project. But before you get the PO from the company, these freelancers are already gone because they got something else and they can't wait on me.
So
So I said,
true.
no, this is not going to work. I need to have a backup and a backup and a backup of a freelancer to be able to be comfortable about these things.
Right.
And that's what led to creation of Bridge It All. And Rinchin, you have been part of that journey, and you have been the one who have been, the main person behind creation of that. So you know that story very well. But I'm so glad that Bridge It All as a platform took off very well. A lot of people
Yeah.
started to resonate with that. At that time, our intent was to support change management related initiatives.
Right.
But very soon we were working in Europe and working in US, working in almost all geographies. And people started to realize that what's that power? And I call it gig economy, I say, is the tsunami of talent management. And this is how in future we'll see more and more companies, they have no option but to adapt to that.
Right.
So at this stage, I said, okay, this is working out quite well. And people started to come back saying that, okay, I'm not only looking for change management, but I'm also looking for a finance person because we are doing finance transformation. We are also looking for somebody to do digital transformation. So the scope continued to increase. And some very large companies actually started to work with us, which was a very big support for us because those large companies who were forward looking
Yeah.
actually came up and they took up on this very well. So the volume that increased gave us a lot of satisfaction and also gave us a lot of momentum to be able to look beyond Bridge It All. And the moment I started to see requests for a CFO or a CEO or an independent director, I said there's much more potential there. And that's while I was thinking about it, I also ended up doing a course at INSEAD on corporate governance. So this is called International Directors Program, which is
Right.
basically focused on company directors and directorship. So how to work through the governance. So while I was doing that course, I said, yeah, this is the ecosystem I want to build. So combining my theory of flex executive economy along with the board members and with the help of my cohort that I was working with, we ended up creating Board Matchup, which I literally did a soft launch last year.
Right.
And I see a lot of traction there also. So we have now Change It All,
Yeah.
Digital, and now Board Matchup. And Board Matchup is the one where I'm seeing this traction of executives, directors, board members, advisors. And we opened it up for the folks from INSEAD first because the cohort that I was in and the cohort around
Yeah.
International Directors Program are qualified people. They can be on the board, but they are also the people who are at the sweet spot of they can be a director or independent director in a company. They can also be a CXO or they can be also a CEO of a smaller size company. So that's the sweet spot that we are dealing with. And many more people, as I mentioned, are choosing that lifestyle, which is actually bringing all these things together. So I'm very excited about it, and people are actually liking it. We have a long way to go, but it's building up very well.
Awesome. And thank you for making me part of that journey when I was in Singapore. I truly appreciated working under your leadership. I know we are at 15 minutes, but I have one last question. How do you see the future of flexible executive economy in the next 2 to 5 years?
This is the biggest lifestyle change that we are likely to see in the next 2 to 5 years. I think companies are realizing, so are the executives, that 9 to 5 that people used to have before. See, we have gone through a phase where most of the executives at certain level they identified themselves with the designation, the title that they had. Okay,
Right.
so unless they're called a VP or a CEO or something like that, they have not arrived yet, right? People
Right.
are actually reaching that stage much earlier, or many of them don't even care about it anymore. And
Mm.
that, I think that's the credit I'll give it to the phase that we went through COVID, because the prioritization of what should be our focus area and the balance
Yeah.
between a family and the home and extended family, friends, what is my passion, all that came together. And it was a wake up moment for everybody. So I think this is where people are realizing, and they are continuously actually looking for opportunities which will give them that balance. And I think the future is flexible executive economy. People may call it with different names, whatever they may want to call it, but this is where we'll see more and more executives going that path. You know, there's a very large population of Indians or even Chinese or many others
Yeah.
where the average age of executives is actually going down.
Okay.
Those people are making money and good money
Yeah.
much earlier in their life.
Right.
So they don't have that financial burden, the commitment that they need to continue to work till they reach 65, and then only they can actually do something to enjoy their life. So
Right.
the traditional way of looking at, okay, I work till 60, 65, then I retire, and then I spend the rest of my time after the retirement money or pension going around in the cruise. That time is over. People are wanting to do
Right.
that much earlier. Also, health wise, people are much younger at the same age of retirement, and they
Right.
are like, I'm retired but
Nice.
not tired.
Right. Just getting started.
Just getting started. So this new chapter that they want to build, they really want to build in their own terms.
Right.
And what better could be than creating that ecosystem which brings it all together. So to answer your question, I see this as a very exciting path of building that ecosystem, providing people with opportunities. And the last point I want to make is that the whole notion of my contact, my friend here, and I'm talking now about the board members particularly.
Yeah.
I think we live in a world which is flat, right? We have much better
Right.
access to people because of technology anywhere in the world, and
Right.
talent is everywhere. So what we saw happening on the social media, that talent started to pop up from everywhere.
Yeah.
This ecosystem should be able to provide opportunities to anyone anywhere in the world, whether they have that connection or the friendship or other referrals or not. So I think
Right.
we are at a very good moment to be able to create that revolution where talent is everywhere. Being able to put them together and connect with each other through this platform can bring more and more opportunities. And I think we are talking about, this world is talking about diversity, inclusion. We need
Yes.
much more diversity of thoughts, not only
Yeah.
diversity of gender or races, but much more of thoughts. And I think this ecosystem should be able to provide that.
Sounds very promising and exciting to me. I think, like you said towards the end, that this is the need of the hour. The diversity of thoughts has to converge now, and it's truly going to become a global, flexible executive economy moving forward. Thank you so much, Karunesh, for your time, and thank you so much for sharing this novel idea with us. I'm sure it's going to be appreciated by a lot of leaders across the globe.
Thank you, Rinjin. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.